Hi, I am Aleph. Please like, share, and donate so I can get a PhD in genetics. And please counter-argue in the comments. When I started this YouTube channel and started speaking about race, I asked YouTube directly not to censor my content. I explicitly repudiated hate and stated that I only wished to discuss scientific facts. I did not expect my videos to come without controversy, but I was surprised to see the lightning speed with which YouTube banned my video on the genetics of race and crime. Unfortunately, this is but an obscure and insignificant example of a larger trend that pervades in Western society's culture and institutions. The trend that equates discussion and debate around facts about genetics and social outcomes with hate speech and promotion of violence. I rewatched my video on the genetics of race and crime when I read YouTube had banned it and tried to find anything in it that could be considered promotion of hate or incitement of violence. Frankly, I came out empty-handed. I found nothing. All I did in the video was propose the differences in the distribution of the MAOA2R genetic variant may account for some portion the observed racial differences in violent crime rates. That is a statement of fact that is either true or false, that is falsifiable, and can in principle be investigated using the standard methodologies that statisticians use to extract valid causal inferences from data, such as regression analysis, instrumental variable estimation, or even randomized controlled trials in animal models. I also proposed a potential solution to the problem of violent crime that might be caused by this gene, namely, gene therapy. Now, suppose my video had spoken about differences in prostate cancer rates among black and white males and suggested that there was a genetic component to them and recommended that if there was, gene therapy might be an effective preventive measure for people who are at risk. I could hardly think of a more anodyne video, to be honest. And I would be very surprised if YouTube banned it. If you think about it, however, this hypothetical video is exactly analogous in its structure to my video on the genetics of race and crime. Only that in this case I chose to speak about a topic that is politically fraught. And this trend of equating discussing statements that appear to be politically inconvenient with hate speech and incitement of violence and then banning said discussions is very worrying. We have to be able to speak about and debate statements of fact. And if we disagree with said statements, we have to find the right arguments to demonstrate their falsehood. You know, I personally find belief in God silly and in many cases socially deleterious. And I find it galling that a person like William Lane Craig is so good at arguing for it that he has beaten most of the famous atheists around. And in the process he has undoubtedly convinced a lot of people and reinforced the faith of many. However, I do not think he or his arguments should be banned. In fact, I am grateful I have been exposed to his arguments, as they have led me to think about this issue a lot more deeply than I otherwise would have, and has developed my critical thinking and rhetorical skills to depths I could not have dreamed of reaching by just reading Richard Dawkins or Sam Harris. I have already appealed the decision to ban the video. And it has already been rejected. If this pattern continues, the channel will have to be moved to BitChute. But it would be a shame, because I think YouTube could use a space where we can talk about difficult issues soberly and scientifically. I leave you with a very powerful monologue by Gad Saad that I personally found very inspiring.
You might remember that when I was on Sam Harris's show, he asked me whether there were any research in my scientific work that I would not touch, forbidden knowledge, as I called it, as has been called by others. And I said, absolutely not. As long as you pursue the scientific method honestly, truthfully, and in an unbiased manner, then nothing is off the table. This is what a deontological view on truth is. A consequentialist view on truth would say, well, it depends what the consequences of that which you uncover are. If the consequences might lead to bad things, then you should not do that research. Based on that logic, don't do research in nuclear physics or atomic physics because, nuclear bomb. That's precisely why the social sciences rejected biology being relevant in the study of human affairs, because some social scientists, in their noble desire to no longer have bigotry around, thought that, well, Darwinism seems to be something that all sorts of miscreants use for their nefarious political goals, well, let's put our heads in the sand and pretend that humans are not biological beings, and therefore we can build 100 years of theoretical and empirical edifices that are fully removed from reality, but at least, we're not racists. So there is no forbidden knowledge. The pursuit of truth is the pursuit of truth, unencumbered by whose feelings get hurt. Let me read you this is all, by the way, going in my book, as you might imagine. So I'm going to read you an excerpt that comes from my chat with Joe Rogan, I think the last time that I was on his show. And for those of you who don't follow me on social media, I'll be on his show again December 19th. So let me read you here. This is Joe and I talking about forbidden knowledge. And so here's my quote from my appearance on the show. When I was on Sam Harris's show, earlier this year, about 6 or 7 months ago, he asked me, is there any research question that you would not tackle in your scientific career that is too taboo? And my answer is no. As long as you address the question honestly and objectively, there is nothing that should be off limits, because then it becomes very easy to say, sex differences, we shouldn't study that because it might marginalize one sex or the other. Race differences, we shouldn't study them for the same reasons, and so on. That becomes forbidden knowledge. No. The highest ideal that any person should pursue is the pursuit of truth, and certainly an intellectual should do that. So don't be encumbered by political correctness, just pursue the truth. And I think that one of the reasons that Jordan Peterson's message and my message has resonated now with a lot of people is because at least they see that we are ascribing to that ideal to the best of our abilities. This is, as I said, I think it was in August 2017. When I recounted this conversation to Joe Rogan while on his podcast, he asked, what if the truth hurts your feelings? And my response, you ready? Fuck your feelings.
Thank you for listening, and see you in the next video.